Hi, this is Chaplain Tyler, and you're watching this video on You Got This with Tyler. I've been called to some very difficult situations, some of which have been traumatic, some of which have been very emotional, many deaths, many traumas, things like that. People tend to think that working in long-term care is a little less strenuous or a little less stressful than working in trauma in a hospital. I have found that only to be, it's different. It's not less traumatic. It's just different. There's a little less trauma, but when the trauma occurs, it is that much more difficult to deal with because you don't expect it. It's not something that most of us, when we go working in long-term care or in continuing care, we just don't expect to have to face trauma. Well, I had a situation where there was an elderly lady who had a severe bladder infection, and the nurses called me to come and offer support to her because she was very distraught. She was upset. She was not able to rest and was crying and having a hard time. The complicating factor was that she had acute aphasia, which means that when she talked, she believed that she was speaking normally. But what everybody else understood was that she was speaking absolute gibberish. Nothing she said made any sense. It wasn't even real words. It was or something like that. And the nurses were concerned for her because they care and they want her to feel better and feel comforted. Now, what do you do when you need to comfort somebody? You call the chaplain. Great. So I came up, got the story from the nurses, and went and knocked on her door, and I think I heard her say something, and walked in and waved. And I hadn't met her before, but I think she had seen me already before, and so she was fairly okay with me being there, I could think. So I pulled up a chair. She was lying in her bed, and we entered into a very bizarre conversation. For about half an hour, she spoke absolute gibberish to me. And I couldn't ask questions because I didn't understand what she was saying. I also had a very difficult time trying to, I couldn't summarize anything she was saying because, again, I didn't understand it. I had to pay absolute attention to her inflections, to her facial expressions, to the punctuations, to the way she moved her body. And when she would make an affirmative statement, I had to give an affirmative nod. And when she was upset, I would say something like, "Wow, that's hard." Or like I had to affirm her emotions. And I did the best I could. And after about half an hour of this, it was extremely mentally exhausting. Because everything I was doing was based on perception. And she didn't know she wasn't speaking normally. She didn't have the insight to know. And so we held this very bizarre conversation. I don't remember how I ended it. I think I said, I'm sorry to have to do this, but I have to go because I have to go see someone else. But thank you for the talk. And she responded with something. And I will see you again. And then I found a way to gently leave the room. I went and I charted and let the staff know. And I believe that she was comforted. And a couple days later, I went back to see her. By this time, the treatment had taken effect and the aphasia was gone because the bladder infection had been treated enough. And now she made sense. So I checked in with her to find out how she was doing. And the first thing she said to me was, "Thank you for the really good talk we had a couple days ago. That helped me a lot." Okay. That was very lucky and extremely led by God, I believe. Because there's no way in the natural that I was going to be able to come up with anything that would help her. I believe what happened was that by my attention and trying to be there with her, the blessing of presence, and by just trying to meet her spirit to spirit, not just mind to mind, but spirit to spirit, I believe that she was helped. And she was very grateful. And I went to see her once in a while from that point on, and everything was normal. So that's an extreme example of empathy. That's an extreme example of paying attention to cues in communication and making sure that I was responding to the emotion of what was being said to me. Not the words, but the emotion. It is possible. I don't recommend people do this on a consistent basis, but it gives you an idea of the power of communication. It's not simply the words. It's what's going on underneath. It's listening, trying to understand where the other person is at. And in this case, all I could do was respond to the emotion, and it was enough. So I gave you that as one of the more difficult situations where I didn't have anything that I could do in a normal way. It was a difficult, different, very different kind of intervention, but one that was very cool when I think about it now, many years later. I hope that helps. May that encourage you. It's not always what you say that matters. It's that you show that you care. And if there's anything that you can take from this, take that. In any case, this is Chaplain Tyler. I see you out there. I believe in you, and you got this. Until next time. Bye.